Welcome to the Antlered Crown podcast, where we discuss brews, witchcraft, spirituality, and more.
We hope through conversation we can continue to support and learn something new from ourselves and each other.
Today we will be drinking tea.
It
is unusual.
So unusual for us.
We might just cut that bit out. You just assume that we're drinking tea.
Then we're going to talk more about the rumpity bumpity.
Oh, so come on in.
I do want to put a disclaimer on this as well.
All
But
right.
if you feel uncomfortable, and I'll put this at the beginning, but if you feel uncomfortable with sex, or if you feel uncomfortable with talking about sex, this is a trigger warning not to listen to this episode. So just stop listening. Just stop.
Do not
right here.
listen.
Right here, you're stopped.
Warning, sex. Warning. There you go.
Triggered.
Did you say turd?
Yes. Beyond the weather and the marsh, there is a whisper in the dark through the tides of disarray, where we list endlessly. If you listen very still, there are answers to the endless, where the ancient pulses deep of the memories you keep.
Welcome to the Antlered Crown podcast. I'm Elwyn, and I'm a witch.
Oh, I'm Amanda, and I am ready to get down and dirty.
All right, then. Well, let's do the podcast. Today, we're talking about the properties of sex magic.
Oh, wow. After avoiding it for so long, we're finally here.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's enough.
We'll end it there, shall we?
Well, to cut the the awkwardness, since I am British, I brought a selection of biscuits that aren't really biscuits, nor are they cookies. These are called Lebkuchen or Lebkuchen. They're German, and they're like gingerbread. They're not very sweet, but they are full of spice. We've got merengues
Yep.
and stroopwafels.
Stroopwafels.
Miniature stroopwafels.
Miniature stroopwafels.
Very nice. Would you care for a biscuit?
Mm-mm.
What? I just got these. Have a biscuit. Don't be rude.
I'm going to go with a stroopwafel.
All right, then I'm going to go with the Lebkuchen.
Why am I not surprised?
They're very carroty.
It looks like carrot cake inside.
It does have a carrot cake quality.
It looks as if like this almost looks like a shell, the chocolate around the outside.
It is. It's got rice paper bottom. The chocolate is optional, really. I don't think traditionally they have hot chocolate on them. But they're full of orange peel. You can taste the orange peel in it. It's kind of a bit like a mince pie meets gingerbread. Mm-hmm. It's very nice. Mm-hmm. Very seasonal. Yeah, so there we go. I won't eat the whole thing because we're supposed to be talking. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, I'll come back. Right.
Well, first we need to talk about, have you ever performed sex magic with me and I was unaware?
Well, I don't think we need to get into that. It's just taken a deeply personal turn. And I thought we were just going to talk about sex magic in general.
Yeah, but now I have you on the spot, so I'd like to hear the truth.
I don't think so. No.
What?
No, I don't think so. Not intentionally, at least.
Yeah. Okay.
Not intentionally. I think you and I actually tried to perform it together once.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember that. Do you remember that?
I think I know what you're referring to, but it might not be.
Probably wasn't.
What you're referring to?
Nope, wasn't that.
Oh, okay.
But nevertheless,
This is so uncomfortable.
it's very uncomfortable, isn't it? I haven't had a bit of a biscuit.
No,
That's what they're here for.
No, I'm good. I'm alright.
Sorry, I can't answer you. I've got my mouth full.
So what is sex magic? Like, let's define sex magic. To me, sex magic is having sex.
That's it. That's it. Just magic. Magic.
The podcast is over.
Done. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I did write a bit down and I forgot to bring it. So
Oh shit.
I'll go because it's not
I
something.
pause this
It's not exactly I study it. No, it's all right. We'll wing it.
Oh,
Full of- I have a brain like a sponge. And no, I didn't mean absorbent. I just meant it's full of holes. Now, so let's firstly, it is the want to achieve something. There is a goal. Usually, the goal is not to have great sex, okay? Because that's just practicing. That's sex. No, there is a goal.
Like
there
a
is
product
an
of
end.
sex.
Yes. Why people use sex? Well, the gnosis of ecstasy. We find it in witchcraft in general as well. The idea of the build-up of reaching a climax in some form is in folklore as well. The idea of the witch's Sabbath and witches having sex with the devil is something that's fairly commonplace now. Yes. This idea of an ecstatic rites, not always to do with sex in itself, but reaching a form of a climax, an ecstasy, is an idea of almost a perforation, a brief perforation of reality, where we become one with everything. Yes, this idea, we reach this form of ecstatic gnosis, which borders on that of creationalism. Okay, or creative forces, the universe, if you like.
The Big Bang.
Yes, exactly, the Big Bang. However, it's more than just that. All right. There have been many schools of thought. There have been many different offshoots, veins, where sex magic is concerned. And here is the problem. Sex magic doesn't get talked about much, and I'm glad about that for reasons that I'm going to tell you. Thank you. There is minefields when it comes to sex magic. There are literal sharks in the water.
Ooh.
And what I mean by literal sharks is predators.
Bottom.
No, not bottoms.
Bottom.
No, predators. People will use sex magic to obtain their own desires, their own sexual gratification. However, in turn, sexual gratification is not what sex magic is about. It is a happy byproduct of it, perhaps, yes, but it is not what it is about. It is about the goal, the end goal. You cannot expect, and many people do. For instance, let's take a male. A male who is a chaos magician decides he wants to think about something. He wants to perform some form of sex magic. So perhaps he watches pornography and yanks himself off. And at the very last minute of climax, decides to jizz all over a sigil and think, "I want this. I want this." That's not sex magic. Okay, but it's not. Okay, no, let's be grown up. That's not sex magic. Okay.
Okay.
Because it is not about the product. Okay, it's not about the final the oomph of it.
Yes.
That is the release.
Yes.
But that is not, if you're sitting there jacking off to pornography, not really thinking about, just thinking about, oh, this looks really good, I'm really aroused. That is not the point. The whole experience must be a form of magic, must be that of what you are trying to produce. You cannot just simply jizz on something and be like, now it is alive, go forth. It doesn't work. All right? It doesn't work like that.
I mean, okay. Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
People think it does. People think it does, and it doesn't. You can't just go and put your bodily fluids on a sigil and expect now it works. Now, it doesn't work like that. It is the tantric build-up of this. There's lately been a lot of discussion in the way of sex magic to do with staving off from climax.
Oh.
Because people are starting to understand the tantric or Shaktism of
the
tantric sex
build-up of it,
is actually more important than achieving or arriving, if you like. All right? Have a bite of cookie, sip your tea, That's it. Just let ourselves get comfortable at the plateau we have arrived before we press onwards. Any questions so far?
Do you think
Mm.
it is thus because you're still able to be in control and focused during that part of sex? Does that question make sense?
All apart from the dust. Do you want to just reword it normally?
Thusly. No, I don't want to. I don't want the tantric part of sex. Is what you're saying is more important than the actual climax of sex. And I feel like when we did our chaos magic podcast, we talked a lot about because ejaculation, because orgasms are chaos. That is why it's one of the main parts of chaos magic. Or not a main part, but a point of chaos magic, perhaps. And that maybe the more power lies in the ability to be in control in the desire.
When it comes to chaos magic, it is trying to find order in that chaos, yes.
Right.
In a sense, that is what you are doing in the act of sex in many ways. You are harnessing a sense of chaos. You are controlling it. But this is where it gets a bit difficult because there are different schools of thought. There are different modes and methods and beliefs in sex magic. Now, sex magic, however, is not new. This is not a new thing. Okay, it is the 20th century revival in many ways, or adaptation by a gentleman who was born in Virginia. His father was a tobacco plantation owner. His mother was an ex-slave. And he was inspired and drawn to occultism, especially sex magic.
Right.
And he believed, I cannot remember his name. I'm sorry, I wrote it down. It's over there. It's very unprofessional. But he believed, basically, that when you achieve climax, you for a millisecond your spirit is open to what he termed as God or a creation, okay, a force, a universal force. It is a one-way thing in a sense of that you experience it. Thank you very much. This helps me know it.
Got it, Dad.
I have to take some notes because obviously it's not like I study it. It's not something that appeals to me in the way of magic, but it's something to know about for me.
It appeals to you in the way of sex.
Exactly. Like sex in itself is its own reward without the added, outcome or influence of magic.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Well, it would be hot. It's got a tea cozy on it. Obviously. That's his name. Pascal Randolph. Pascal. All right, calm down. It's just a name.
Pascal's out here like...
He's just touching the ladies.
He's like,
this is magic. And they're like, are you sure this is magic, Pascal? Yes, it's magic.
It's magic. I'm making magic, buddy. And they're like, you're really not, Pascal.
So in the term of God or universal, I believe the idea being creation energy. This brings, however, its own thing into it. Okay? This is, in the West, the first signs of sex magic in the West. If we look at some of the oldest forms of cultures, Hinduism. Hinduism has the tantric practice of sex. It follows a vein of Shaktism, okay? The supreme goddess head of Shaktism, teaching that extreme love and passion eclipses obedience when it comes to deitic forms. The Shakti, or energy, is that of the ideal or divine union between Vishnu and Shiva. Okay? It's the idea of not that between a man and a woman, but that which is within you and can be unlocked through climactic experiences through sex.
Hanky panky.
Yes, indeed. Now, this is where things get a little bit... I don't entirely agree with some of this. There was a doctor in the early 1800s, I believe it was, Dr. Wilhelm Reich, who was a study of Freud. And are you all right there?
Mm-hmm.
It was a study of Freud, and he came up or coined the phrase Orgone. You may have heard of the Reich Orgone Institute, which is still a thing today. And it sounds very, very intense. You may have heard of Orgones in esoteric circles. Orgone, they do the Orgone necklaces with the Metatronic cube on it and copper and all sorts of stuff. I don't know, whatever. But honestly, it's just a combination of the word orgasm and hormone. It's an orgone. Yes.
Real big thinker, this guy.
He believed that negative orgone energy can be expelled through sexual practice, which then replenishes the body with positive orgone energy through ecstatic union or orgasm. Yeah.
Wait. Say that again for me.
He believed that there were these things like orgones in the body, a form of energy, and they can accumulate in a negative sense. And having sex dispels the negative orgones, and then they are replenished with positive ones, or turns them positive, and almost as though like a magnetized sense, something like that.
No. Okay.
Okay. A life force energy, if you like, an orgone. It's crap. Personally, I believe it's crap.
Yeah, 100%.
It's crap.
It is crap.
If what he's trying to describe as an energy is half right, and the rest is pheromones and chemical balances of the brain, different things going on there. You can't just,
Right.
That
reminds me of that one. Do you remember that one doctor? And he thought he could solve women's hysteria
by having sex with them.
not sex. I think he was giving them orgasms, but he got tired of using his hand, so he created a crank clit massager.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there with his little egg beaters, essentially, like just cranking that shit.
Are you still crazy? I'm afraid so, doctor. Keep going.
Keep going, right. A little more.
Honestly, but this is what I'm saying about predatory problems.
Yeah, within the occult
especially
spaces, yeah.
Men will use it to achieve their own nefarious desires, needs. That also in cults as well.
Right.
Now, what I was saying about what was his name?
How's that stroopwafel?
It's very nice.
Pascal.
A lot of his papers found their way into quite high up occult groups in Europe.
Gross.
Where they then used it, I suppose.
Right, are we talking about Pascal? Or are we talking about this?
No, Pascal.
Reich guy.
Reich didn't only just do orgones; he done other things as well. But orgones are one of the big things.
Okay. Talking about Pascal.
So basically, what we've got here is not wanking on a sigil. It's not going to help. Okay, you can't just wank on a sigil and be like, right, my wish is fulfilled. Right? It's very much like a cake. You can't just throw something wet and something powdery together and expect there to be a beautiful cake because you've done that and put it in an oven. All right? It's about the ingredients. It's what you do. It's the preparation beforehand. All of these things factor into how successful the end result will be. The end result, as in a climax, is necessary, yes. However, it's all about what you do beforehand, right?
Right.
So the idea that we transmute energy through willpower by raising I suppose it's like a Kundalini energy in a sense, the rising serpent energy. Okay, but then again, you see this in sex magic, but it's also in all forms of magic. We do it without. Sex is one of the ways of which that we can do this effectively without too much preparation. In this sense, this is where it's very practical because everyone knows how to get aroused. Everyone knows how to.
Not everyone.
Oh, all right. We're splitting hairs here, but you know what I mean.
Okay.
Like,
I'm just saying there's a lot of different types of sexuality that have been identified in.
Yeah, but everyone can still get aroused in some form.
Yes, I understand.
Even if you're the only person who can arouse yourself.
Got you.
You can, you know what I mean?
I understand. Yes.
So by that, it's using your physical body to achieve a spiritual union, in a sense, with what you desire.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, we'll go on from there. Now, this is the bit that I don't like.
Okay.
Personally.
Right.
We look at the symbolisms in sex magic. I'm answering a lot of what you were supposed to ask me.
Yeah, you're just going for it. I'm just letting you roll.
Are you going to let me roll? Or?
Well, do you want me to ask you a question?
You can ask a question. I may have already answered it now.
Well, I think you're about to answer this question, which is how does the properties of sex magic work?
No.
No? Okay.
Well, kind of.
So we've kind of already talked about what is sex magic and a little bit of the history of it.
Yeah, some of the history of it.
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to say is this bit about doing it on your own, or do you need a partner?
Okay.
And
Let's talk about it.
All right. Well, no, you don't need a partner to do it. You can do it on your own. There are certain cults, I would say cults, groups where they have a massive orgy and they all work together to do it. Now, I think that the more people you bring into this, the more difficult it becomes.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone has to be on the same level. Everyone has to be pulling in the same direction, excuse the pun, in order to achieve what is desired. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we look at the symbolism, however, if we look at the symbolism in what unity is through sex magic, people will talk a lot about the solar and lunar aspects, the passive, the aggressive, the god, the goddess, all right, the alpha, the omega, all right, yin and the yang. This is what creates this idea, this balance, this harmonization between, this impact that creates something.
Right.
I don't believe this. I think this is shit.
Really?
Because it's a sexist view.
Mm.
The idea of male and female is applied to it. I do not believe it's complete shit, but I don't think it has to do with gender.
Right. Okay.
Because it is known, it is documented that two people who, two gay men, two gay women, whatever, can still achieve sex magic and achieve results through sex magic.
Mm-hmm.
So, therefore, the god and the goddess aspect is out of the window. It's gone. It doesn't, the solar and the lunar, unless one unthinkingly assumes that role.
Right.
Just in the act of sex. Okay? So, to raise this creation force to accomplish the goal, there must be this union between the two, some say. Not entirely true. Also doing it by yourself. In truth, you have both of these things within you. We all do. You have the god and the goddess. The one downfall in all of this is assuming that one or the other has a penis and a vagina.
Right.
This is not what the energy is about.
Right.
And it's time that people realize this. Because making the god and the goddess, it falls under the Wiccan thing in a way, but also under forms of traditional witchcraft as well, as we were in the idea of the devil and the queen of Elfame or the queen of the other. Making one the passive, making one the aggressive, you have to look at the union. Not they are two sides of the same coin. By doing this, it is knowing thyself, looking in without. You have both. Having sex with yourself, in other words, singular, to achieve ecstatic gnosis through direct magical energy and accomplishing a goal is exactly the same thing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So what you are doing, basically, by yourself, you can achieve sex magic successfully by yourself. So therefore, it completely blows the whole idea of the solar and the lunar, a man and a woman together. No. It is just the self, and that's all required. You have the balance within you. And the same goes for when two people are having sex. If two people are having sex, one favors more on the solar, one favors more on the lunar. Okay, one is more yin, one is more yang, or one will naturally revert to the other depending on the manner of the relationship or what they're doing at the time. It will find that way because there is balance. One opposing force or energy will push the other one, and the other one will conform to that other or alternative opposing force. So it is the point of sex. You don't need to assign genders to it in order for it to work.
Right.
Is what I'm saying here. Okay. So I do believe that is, although solar and lunar, god and goddess, that all works well in a way of understanding it. Don't go and slap private parts on different roles. Won't help you. Okay, because it has both. Look at Baphomet in that sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Achieving climax within a split moment that transcends reality and penetrates the mundane forces to... Are you all right there? To achieve creational gnosis, to influence the outcome of the practitioner's desires. It is an alchemical union. Okay. That union can be had inside yourself, but it doesn't come from wanking off onto a sigil. As I said, it's not about the bang. It's not about the gratification.
Okay.
It's not about instant gratification. It's about the build-up. I think all of us here, every single one of us knows that in sex, you can have quick sex that's done and scratches an itch, or you can have sex that builds up slowly and slowly, and then all of a sudden, at that climax, same physical climax that the body's experiencing, and yet the mind starts to see twinkly lights and stars, and your legs go to jelly, and it's like, wow, this is amazing. Because of the build-up. Not because of the end moments, but because of everything that leads up to it. That is the power behind the sex magic. That is what you're trying to achieve. All the while keeping in mind, at the forefront of your mind, what you are doing it for.
Okay.
All right? That's that. Yeah. So, now, you ask a question. While I eat a cookie.
Okay. What are the pros and cons of achieving sex magic on your own versus having a partner or an orgy?
All right. Okay. So
what are the pros of having sex magic on your own?
I'd say the pros of having sex magic on your own is many schools of sex magic believe that you must achieve climax together at the same time. Difficult to do sometimes.
Yeah.
You both have to be in that sync, that unison. So, doing it by yourself is fairly easy. One of the pros, I would say also, is that you understand exactly why you're doing something.
Right.
You can do this. I would go as far as to say that women are better at sex magic doing it solo than men are.
Okay.
You don't want to know why?
Sure, why?
I was waiting for you to ask why. I'm just going to accept that.
Like, no, I would agree with that.
When women masturbate,
yes,
they often use either literature or their imagination, primarily.
Literature?
Men lack the imagination. Yeah, all right, get off of it, will you? Just... Men primarily use visual aids in some manner. Okay, they lack the imagination. They cannot do the two things at once. It is that imaginary aid, that willing something into being till your body can actually feel the sensation. Apparently, Oscar Wilde was famous for it was a party trick of his that he was able to lay on a table naked and without touching himself once, achieve climax.
Wow.
It is the power of the mind over the body. Yeah?
Okay.
That is a boom. That is a boost to anyone. So therefore, women do seem naturally inclined towards being able to do this rather than men. All right. And as I said, it is about that. Men, yeah, all right, a man can put his semen on a sigil, great. But he can't achieve that without often a visual aid of some kind because of the modern day we live in, and it's everywhere nowadays. People are just whatever.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah. So that is one of the big pros as well to solo stuff. Is you can actually, for want of a better word, practice. One of the, I'd say it was a con really, is that there isn't a resonation. You have to really know yourself. You have to really experience from your feminine and masculine sides if you are going to do it by yourself. Okay? And that's kind of what I was hinting at there about the imagination and stuff. Try to be in sync with yourself. Don't be too overly either side. Try and keep a balance of what you're doing. Otherwise, it's not going to work as well. You need both sides of you, because within us all, we all have female and male counterparts of ourselves. Being in touch, being in balance with those is what gives us that key of,
Do you believe in this divine feminine, divine masculine bullshit that they talk
No. No, it's bollocks. When I talk about the male and the feminine and the masculine within you, one should not dominate. This idea of like, oh, well, your divine masculine or your divine feminine is responding to his divine masculine. Fuck off. All right? No, fuck off. Okay? If you want to basically say that, you're drawn to toxicity in relationships, then just say that. Okay? When it comes to it, they are equal in every sense. And you have both within you.
Yeah.
You do have both within you. Regardless of what is between your legs, you have both. All right? It is what you feed.
Yeah.
It is what you feed. Okay? And keeping a balance can be very difficult.
I also think that there's stereotypes to both man and woman. They're like men, hunter, woman, gatherer, and stuff like that. And mother, father, work at home. Or
of course.
Stay at home, work far from home. So that's kind of bullshit as well. That has nothing to do with femininity or masculinity.
Nothing whatsoever.
That's a stereotype.
Anything to do with the way of providing or nurturing, both are capable and both are also not capable. There are women out there who are terrible mothers, and there are men out there who are terrible fathers, and there are women out there who are great mothers and men who are great fathers. There's nothing to do with your sexuality or your gender. It has to do with who you are as a person and the shit you have yet to deal with. That's it. It has nothing to do with any form of masculine femininity or divine masculine or divine femininity. I mean, nothing to do with it whatsoever.
Right.
All right.
Would the partner have to be aware that they were participating in sex magic in order for your magic to work?
That's a good question. I am not an authority on sex magic at all, because it borders under chaos magic. It falls under chaos magic, and chaos magic is not my thing. However, I would say that yes, to an extent, because it is a joint effort. Okay, like for instance, I I could persuade you to help me lift a box and carry it somewhere, but unless I'm explaining to you where I actually want to put the thing, it's not going to go very smoothly, is it?
Right.
You want both people kind of going in the same direction. There are some things, there are some quotes throughout the years of people have said about certain do's and don'ts towards sexual partners to perform sex magic in. Some people have said that it works better if there is no real romantic or emotional connection between you. But then these same people have said, but it mustn't be someone's wife, and it mustn't be a harlot. They actually use that word.
Harlot.
And others have said, no, it should be. Because at the end of the day, most of these are written by men who have their own ulterior motives. All right. But some women also, but mainly men who have their own ulterior motives. And they will go to great lengths to write many papers in order to just seduce one person that they had their sights on originally. So we have to kind of be careful about going through old texts and things, and use your reasoning as a person in this day and age to think what is right, what is wrong, what makes you feel comfortable. I personally think love, attachment, and union between someone in yourself in sex magic will make it even more potent.
Right.
The same reason that I have had children with you, because I love you, and therefore we have created these other things, these tiny little crotch goblins who we love and love us because of what we've done.
Right.
You know, in other words, don't go and just do something. There is also this whole school of thought within, is sex magic technically safe? Because in a way, you are committing to something through the exchange of bodily fluids or the even offering of bodily fluids. Now, we know that offering things like blood in a spell means that you are putting your thumbprint on it. You are binding yourself to that spell. So you cannot simply just reverse that spell if it goes pear-shaped, because you are connected to it. All right? You are linked to it now. It is part of you and your fate. Is sex magic the same in this sense? Yes, in many ways. Does that mean that you should be much more careful? Yes, but then again, you should be careful anyway about what you are trying to do in any form of magic, whether or not that's just a simple petition or a ritual. You should be careful, right? And treat everything as though it is going to happen. Not, I'll just throw it all at the wall and see what sticks.
Right.
You know, that's what I think, anyways.
That's fair.
You've remained incredibly quiet throughout this whole thing about sex magic. That's my turn to ask questions.
No.
Yeah. No,
what can you use sex magic for?
Almost anything, really, in the way of achieving goals. If you wish to be successful, you wish to have a job or get a new job, you wish to find finance, you wish to have a new house, to meet new people, to achieve some form of end or joint goal, almost anything really, even for health, for love, all the things the human wants that most people need, even forms of more to open spiritual awareness and inner peace. You know, you can do this, forms of healing as well. You know, it's like Marvin Gaye said, sexual healing. It is true. It's an energy, and it's a very profound and extreme and big energy, and you can use it for all sorts of things if you apply it to it. So
if we're not jizzing on a sigil,
you can jizz on a sigil. Don't get me wrong, but it's not about the end.
I'm just saying, what would the steps be? Is it spell work involved in it? Is it just the act of visualization?
Well, as I said, I'm not a chaos magician.
Internal working, or
I'm not a chaos magician, but chaos magic is. There is a sense of instant gratification in chaos magic in itself. Okay, quick and simple. Not in the same way as traditional folk magic that we do. This is a bit different. They honestly make a sigil out of the sentence of what you want to achieve. Write it as though it's already happened. Word it as though it's already happened. Once you've done that, you focus on the sigil while you are building up, I suppose we'll say. Keeping in mind all the while, visualizing what it is that's happened because you willed it, and then when you have, then on it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's all about the build up first, not just the thing. It's like loading a gun. You know, it's what you put in the gun, not what you just shoot at. You know, it's the same thing. And so, yeah. Now I ask the questions. Have you ever done sex magic on me without me knowing?
Yeah.
What? When?
Recently.
When?
Before we left.
All right, that's enough. Did you really?
Yeah. Which is really funny why you were like, I feel very inspired today. And I'm like,
Really? I mean, it may have worked. I'd give it another go. You can never be
Try
too careful.
again.
I felt something. Give it another go.
I felt the tingly in my jingles.
Oh, that's wrong. Well, I'm just going to eat another stroop waffle and think about that.
There you go.
No, as I said, I believe you will yield much better results if both the people knew. One of the other things in sex magic I've noticed is people will draw sigils on each other. Preferably like on each other's chest.
With their jizz?
No. No. Just with pen or ink or body paint, and draw the sigil on like each other's chest so that they can both look at them during the act of. The idea, I think, that comes from once I said, two people doing it rather than one person, because from a male perspective, it is easier. It is easier for a man to keep something in mind while having the act of sex than it is for him to masturbate and do it, because he may feel uninspired, shall we say.
Right.
So, yeah.
What are some cons of sex magic versus other workings?
I think I've just covered that with the bodily fluids thing. Not always. Also, two people create something together. You're tied. You could be tied together. You could be linked together. Also, in any form of magic, you've got to be careful. Now, you could say that you don't want to do something, so please make it so I don't want this to happen. I don't want to go through with this. I don't want to commit to this thing or whatever it is. Someone could end up getting seriously hurt, which would then stop you from actually doing that thing, which is not really what you asked for, but it's what it got you. Because when you're dealing with big, potent, especially earth-based energies, like the Kundalini kind of energy that we discussed in sex magic, you're looking at big, punchy outcomes as well. You could be, depending on how good you are at it, I suppose. Yeah.
Does desire also fall into sex magic?
Yeah. Desire is a very strong form of will, especially in when it comes to humans. Desire, for some reason, we make it different. We add a cocktail of emotions to wants. Okay, an animal will want something. An animal will see meat, for instance, and want it. They will start saliving, and they will do, give them a chance, and they'll grab the meat. For us, we can restrain ourselves, but still desire. We can place all strange of cognitive dissonances upon why we want it, but why we shouldn't have it. Why we should have it, but why we won't take it. We can create this strange, almost sense of edging the self, really, to build up, to increase and heighten the experience of eventually getting something. There is a problem there, though, which I believe that human beings genuinely become addicted to the pursuit of something. And then to the point that they don't actually want to obtain it. Because obtaining it then could prove itself to be an anticlimax, or at least will not give them that euphoric build-up.
Right.
Very much in the same way as we were talking sexually to what it is that they want. So they will keep teasing themselves with something that they want. But in reality, almost subconsciously, they're not going to get it because they're scared or those other reasons that I just said.
Yeah,
so
blockages.
Being aware of your desires, being aware of what you actually want, what you actually want to obtain, and if you would actually have it, is a different thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder how often unintentional sex magic occurs as well.
Quite a bit, I think.
Especially with pregnancies.
Well, that's just chemical stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think we used sex magic to get our first one. Because that was instantaneous.
Yep. Not that you guys needed to know that, but welcome.
You're so uncomfortable about
I'm
this.
very uncomfortable.
She's so
with this
like
topic.
fidgety, and just relax. We're not talking about anything that
This
anyone.
is- yeah. I'm just thinking back, like in 20 years from now, our kids are gonna listen to this and be like, ugh,
Probably not.
disgusting.
Well, if you're listening, kids, that's how you got here. So just remember. Right?
Giggity giggity.
We're a couple of wild and crazy guys.
Oh my god.
Mm.
Yup. Well.
But as I said, I'm not like, I thought it would be interesting to talk about sex magic, but I am by no means an expert on such things. I honestly believe that sex is a lovely thing and it's great and, you know, and all that stuff. But there are other forms of magic that you can do. And
Right.
honestly, sex magic is just a lazy way of getting what you want, because then you don't have to train the mind to achieve that ecstatic form of gnosis that you can do otherwise through chant, repetition, and other such things.
Understood.
Okay.
You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as The Antlered Crown, or on YouTube as Elwyn the Witch.
I offer a variety of readings, including bone, tarot, medium, connection, deity guidance, and spiritual consultations, which are done live and scheduled via Zoom. I am also offering spell work and custom merchandise, of all which you can find on my website, theantleredcrown.com.
You can also join our community on Patreon and get access to our Discord server, group meetings, one-on-ones with Elwyn, tutorials, discounts, and other goodies, depending on the tier level you choose.
Speaking of which, this is our Antler Crown patron shout-out.
Carly.
That was it.
Hey, Carly.
It's been a slow week.
Hey, Carly.
Hello.
Yeah.
Next time, we'll be talking to our new friend and a friend of the Barefoot Witch, a Scottish practitioner and author.
And always remember,
Tip your witch, bitch.
bye-bye.
Bye.